So, without further ado, we have completed our win totals for the best of the best in the group of five, also sprinkled in with Notre Dame and BYU as independents here. Now me and Zach are going to give our quote-unquote best bets from this batch, and I made a special rule here since this is technically covering the best of the G5. I said that we can have our best bets be from any team in the entire group of five, not just the ones that we covered here today, because I think there are a few key hidden gems out there that you can bet on. And without further ado, Zach, I'll let you go first. Who is your first best bet?
So I'm going to go with a team that wasn't even on this list. But I did hint and prop them up all throughout the videos we made. Eastern Carolina over 6.5 wins at plus 120. 45th in returning production. I like Holton Allers, their fifth-year senior, coming back. And you get UCF and Houston at home. And I'm a big split guy. It's got to be a way you split one of those games, but still allow Houston or UCF to reach that over win totals we predicted. They were 7-5 last year. I mean, I think a lot of the sentiment around the country is ECU is one of these sleeper teams. And I think you could blink, this could be an 8-4 team. Let me just go through the schedule really quick, and I had it pulled up. I should have had it ready to go. But,
that's a good pick, however, though. I think ECU is definitely a team that can get to 7 wins, and I didn't really even think about them, but I really should have. And you're right. Seeing that win total down at 6.5, that seems pretty low. I'm sure that's got to be the lowest you can get it at for that over.
So let me give you. Yeah, I love the value. The value is what got me. And if I'm going to make put my own money into this, I do want to get some value as opposed to breaking even. And let me just go through the schedule super fast. NC State, yeah, you might lose that, but you might catch them sleepy and sneak one. Old Dominion, toss up. Campbell, win. Navy, I think you can win. USF, Tulane, I think you can win that. Memphis, this isn't your Mike Norvell Memphis. UCF at home. BYU, Cincy on the road, that's brutal. That's brutal. You split that, we're sitting pretty if you split that. Then you get Houston at home, and then you get to wrap it up against Temple. I think you can find a way to hit a bowl game and then mess around and get that 7th win in there somewhere. And then if they become the class of the American and do better, that's just gravy. Like top 4, make the conference championship potentially, which I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I like, for the value you get, I like them winning 7 games.
I like it. So East Carolina over 6.5. I have a couple. The first one I'm going to go to is I'm going to go to a team in the Sun Belt Conference, and this is a team that has a brand new head coach, a head coach that was at the top of a lot of college football news and speculation last year. And he was a head coach that actually got fired after a few games at the beginning of the season last year. Clay Helton is no longer at USC, and he is going to Georgia Southern. And I am going to pick Georgia Southern over 4 wins this year. Now, I know this is stooping pretty low here down the barrel, but I think Clay Helton is still a very solid coach. And how many times have you seen this where these college football coaches go to these high-profile programs and it just doesn't work out there, but then they go to a place that's a little more low-key down in the G5 and they end up having some success and they build a solid floor? I think this is exactly what's going to happen with Georgia Southern and Clay Helton. And it's not like they got a huge win total to reach here. They just got to eclipse at least 4 wins for this win total to hit. And as I said, I think he can elevate the floor. Their QB play from last year was absolutely dreadful, but they went out and got a transfer from Buffalo, Kyle Van Treese, who's a 5th-year senior. And he didn't put up the greatest numbers, but he's definitely a huge up from what they had last year at the quarterback position. And I also like Clay Helton's coordinator hires as well. I think he did a good job. Those guys certainly have good backgrounds where they're coming from. And I did look at their schedule. Their schedule is kind of tough, actually, for Sunbelt standards, but I think they can get 4 wins in there. I think they can sort of take advantage of a few other teams maybe being down. And I think it's possible that Helton can pull this thing together and get this Georgia Southern team to a bowl game. Though, again, all they got to do is get to 5 wins for this win total to hit. If they hit 4 wins, you get your money back. So this is just an endorsement of Clay Helton and bringing in the coordinators and doing a good job there to eclipse a rather low win total.
No, I love that, John. I mean, the win totals are where the money's at. I mean, Michigan State, like I had no money on it, but when I saw 4.5, I said, sure, this team could win over, win 5 games, and they go and almost win the Big Ten. So I found that when you're in that even 2.5, or there's a lot of value to be had there. And I just wanted to say, so I did have one more best bet actually.
Yeah,
Um,
so did I.
and in the Sun Belt. It's in fact, I honestly thought you were going to say this team, and we already talked about them, so I'm not going to belabor the point. But dude, they're going to give me under 8.5 on UL at plus 100. That's free money. They're giving you free money on what I think is almost a sure thing. That's insane to me. That should be negative 110, and it's sitting at plus 100 right now. We gave our reasons, and I am fairly confident that this UL team is not going to win 9 games. That is a no-brainer bet, if you ask me. And I will eat my crow on that if I'm wrong, but I'm very confident that is a very good bet to place at this moment.
Oh, I'm with you. And I actually really thought about making them the best bet. But for all the reasons that we said earlier, and if you haven't watched the other video, go check out our last video. We give all our reasons for why we like this Louisiana under. And yeah, I really think losing Billy Napier and that whole staff just is going to be a huge loss for them. And I was surprised too to see it up at 8.5. I think that 8.5 win total is just sort of a recency bias number set there. I think that you're right. I think 4 losses at least are in store for the Cajuns. So my final best bet, I'm going to be going out of the Sun Belt now. I'm going to be going out west to the Mountain West Conference, and I'm actually going to be going very, very far out west. In fact, across the Pacific Ocean to the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. Hawaii is sitting at 4.5 wins as their total, and I am going under for the Rainbow Warriors. If you haven't known what went on at Hawaii, their former head coach was accused of malpractice, of treating his players very poorly. And there was a whole situation there. The state legislator got involved, and it was a whole fiasco. And basically what happened is he stepped down, and now they have a new head coach in Timmy Chang. And Timmy Chang, he's inheriting a pretty hefty mess out there at Hawaii. He is a former Hawaii player, and he actually played in the NFL. So he is at his alma mater, which I think is a good thing. However, he doesn't have any head coaching experience. And they only returned 28% of their production from last year because they just had so many guys just exit and transfer out. Almost all of their good players transferred out. And if you look at their depth chart right now on our lads, it hasn't even updated because they don't even have a full depth chart filled out at this point. So I'm sure that it will get settled and fixed in time for the season, obviously. But one thing to mention, though, here was kind of an oddity with their schedule is that they play 13 games actually in the regular season. So I'm still going under, even though they play 13 games in the regular season, because I just think this team is going to be awful. And right now they're projected to be a bottom feeder Mountain West team. And I don't really see them winning more than 1 or 2 Mountain West games. And then if you look at their non-conference, they open up with Vanderbilt at home, which is surprisingly sort of winnable, even though Vanderbilt is an SEC team, but they also got to play Michigan as well. And I just don't see this team getting to 5 wins. Even playing 13 games, if you're telling me Hawaii's got to go to 5-8, I'll just be absolutely floored if they can win 5 games or more. And this will be one where I've already bet my money on the under here, but if they win 5 games or they get to 6 wins and get to a bowl game, then you just got to tip your cap to Timmy Chang. I mean, that would be a hell of a coaching job, an A+ coaching job on his part. But for all those reasons, on all the uncertainty and all the inexperience on that team and on that coaching staff, I got to go under.
John, I love that. Outside of Duquesne, I mean, who are they confidently beating? You could hypothetically beat Vanderbilt, but I'll tell you, I think Vanderbilt's going to be improved. So that's not a gimme like it was last year. So even assuming you beat Vanderbilt, you would have to win 3 conference games to eclipse the over. And I don't care if you got an extra game on the schedule. There is nothing about this non-con outside of Duquesne. Heck, even New Mexico State is going to be better. I mean, even though they're the lower of the independent group of fives. No, I absolutely love that. And even though they are traditionally your 6-6 Hawaii Bowl team, for all those reasons you said, it's hard to clean up that kind of mess when it involves players being mistreated. You can clean up, some kind of scandal, like an Ole Miss type situation, calling people on the office phone and stuff. But this kind of stuff where you've hurt, these young men and you got a good hearted, former guy coming to take over, you're like, yeah, he has support, but that just because you have support doesn't mean that's going to translate into a successful season, especially in what should be really a year zero for Hawaii.
Absolutely, yes. And that's exactly right. Like you said, year zero is the perfect way to describe what's going to be going on here for Timmy Chang. And as I said, I mean, Timmy Chang could end up being a really good hire. He could be a gem, a diamond in the rough over the long term. But for the immediate future for this season, I just thought the highest win total I could get was 4.5, and I hit that under. And I just, like I said, I just don't see this Hawaii team getting to 5 wins. I'd be absolutely floored if Timmy Chang can pull that off with the situation that he's inheriting there.
Especially with the 13-game buffer too, the confidence there, mad respect. And I'm inclined to agree with you there too.
Right. So that's a big factor. Remember that if you're gonna tail me and bet on the Hawaii win total, remember they played 13 games in the regular season. That's still not stopping me from betting the under. If you're listening, thank you for listening. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're listening on podcast, thank you for sticking around. If you've listened to this whole thing, hopefully we've provided some insight for you if you want to go and make your own bets as well. Without further ado, this is Shoob and this is Zach subbing in for Xan. We are signing out. See y'all later.
God bless everybody. Thank y'all.